Hello and welcome to the second installment of teaching for the Divine Art of Money, 21 Days to Manage Your Money Like a Pro online course. I want to thank everyone who left a comment after the first video. It's certainly obvious that from those comments that managing your finances better is going to help you achieve some truly awesome goals in your life. So thanks again for the comments. So you'll remember in the last video, I asked you to start writing down every single purchase you made for the next 30 days. And if you started doing that, you're probably already seeing some patterns emerge that you might not have realized were happening before you started paying attention. And that's great because it's already helping you to be more mindful of how you spend your money. It helps you find where any money might be leaking away every month that maybe you didn't notice in the past. So keep after it because this information you're finding out is going to help you in the next step. But before I move on to the next step, I think it's important to remind you exactly where we're headed. Years ago, Angie and I decided to get serious about getting our finances under control. And it seemed like such a monumental task that was ahead of us. I mean, we saw this huge hill we had to climb, and it really seemed insurmountable at the time. But one thing we learned along the way is that you can't make that climb by focusing on the entire mountain. You climb the mountain by focusing on the one step that is in front of you right now. You take that step, then the next, and before you know it, you've reached the peak of that mountain. It's just like when someone climbs Mount Everest. They don't just walk up the mountain. They hire a guide called a Sherpa who knows the way to show them how to get there. They set up camp at several different altitudes along the way and break up the journey into achievable steps that ensure they're able to get what they came for to reach the summit of the mountain. And it takes time and patience. Believe it or not, the journey from base camp of Mount Everest to the peak is only a little over 2 miles, but it usually takes 2 months or more to reach the peak. So Angie and I realized we had to be patient. We had to take it one step at a time and do the work that was needed to complete our financial journey. That patience made all the difference in the world. We no longer stress about money, and we don't ever fight about money either. In fact, we haven't had a fight about money in over a dozen years now. And it's all because we took the journey one step at a time. When I surveyed my audience not long ago, I found out that about 75% are doing an inadequate budget or no budget at all. But one of the things we discovered on our journey out of debt was that doing a detailed budget is the absolute key to permanently getting complete control of our money. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, man, I tried that and it didn't work, I want you to hear me out on this. One of the things I've discovered through extensive surveys of my readers is that most people fail at budgeting. And there are a few good reasons why that happens. One of those reasons is because a lot of people tend to do a budget after the fact. And what I mean is they look back over what they spent last month and they try to figure out where they spent their money. So in one sense, that's good because you're able to see where all your money went and how you might be able to do better. Unfortunately, since that kind of budget is backward looking, it's still easy to continue spending more than you intended and never truly get control over how much you're actually spending every month. I'll show you how to fix that in just a minute once I cover the other two big reasons why your budget doesn't work. So the next reason why budgeting doesn't work for a lot of people is because there are just not enough details. My research has also shown that most people are just writing down a list of their bills if they even do that. But that's just not enough. You don't just spend money on bills, you spend it on all kinds of stuff. Whether it's getting your hair cut and colored, eating out for lunch, or adding to your vintage snow globe collection. Your money is used for a lot of things other than bills, so you have to account for that. So the more detailed you make your budget, the more accurately you represent where and how you're spending your money on a daily basis. It's important to have all those details at your disposal so you can make a plan for your money that actually works. Now, the third reason why most people fail at budgeting is because they just don't stick with it. And I believe the reason so many people don't stick with it is because of what I just talked about. When your budget doesn't have enough detail and it just looks into the past, you don't have all the information you need to get complete control over your money. So you try budgeting for a while and ultimately you don't stick with it because you're not seeing a lot of benefits of having done it. Then you get down on yourself because even though everybody says you need to do a budget, it just doesn't seem to work for you. You feel like you just don't have the discipline or you're just not smart enough or whatever. It's a really crappy situation to find yourself in. But you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. When it comes down to it, budgeting is really not very difficult at all, and it actually does work when you just stick to a couple of basic principles. Now think about it. It's only third grade math, and anyone, even you, can do it once you have the right process in place. So the basic principles you absolutely need to stick to when you do a budget are these. Your budget needs to be detailed and it needs to be forward-looking. A budget that works is one that plans out your spending for the month ahead instead of looking back at what you did in the past. In the Divine Art of Money, 21 Days to Managing Your Money Like a Pro, I show you exactly how to do that in detail so you can get the hang of doing a budget the right way and get total control over your money like you never thought you could. So I know what you're thinking. You've probably tried to start budgeting before, or at least tried to get some measure of control over your finances so you could stop living paycheck to paycheck, but it never quite worked out for you. Maybe you felt like you didn't have enough discipline, or you're just not organized enough. Or maybe you had to deal with an uncooperative spouse, or you feel like you don't make enough money to even make a dent in your debt. That's okay. The Divine Art of Money shows you how to deal with those problems and overcome the obstacles that stand in your way. It doesn't matter if you don't think you have enough money, because when it comes down to it, how much money you make is not the key factor that determines how well you do with money anyway. If your organizational skills are not perfect, or you have a spouse that's just not on board, that's okay too. I address those issues in the course as well. No matter what kinds of issues you've had in the past with trying to heal your finances, there is still a way to achieve your goals and make your financial future as bright as it can possibly be. You'll learn how to overcome your past obstacles and move forward using a solid, step-by-step plan customized to your situation. All you have to do is follow these steps. So in the next video, I'm going to dive a little deeper into the process and talk about how you can make the transition to managing your money like a pro. In these first two videos, you've learned the basics of effectively keeping track of your money, and that's a great start. That's the solid foundation for the next part of the process, where I'll show you how to start effectively paying down debt using a plan that you customize to your own unique situation. I'll teach you all about that in the next video. Until then, be sure to share this video with your friends and followers on social media. There are so many people that need this teaching, and you never know whose life you might change just by sharing this video. Also, I'd like you to go ahead and leave a comment below. I want you to tell me what your biggest obstacles are to getting out of debt, and what can I do to help you overcome those obstacles. So go ahead and answer those questions by leaving a comment below right now, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, be blessed.